I'm Hafizah. I've been given a task by Dr. Noraida to speak on the maternity protection in relation to research contact and also informal sectors. I have two main arguments that I want to put across for my presentation today. Number one, there's a huge research gap in the informal sectors. And number two, it is timely to do this research, especially in informal sectors, to study the maternity protection. But because I am from anthropological background, so there's most of the research within this area of maternity protection is all like statistics. So I would like to encourage those from anthropology by using ethnography to capture this issue of maternity protection in SMEs, for example, because I'm focusing on these informal sectors. I'm going to divide my presentation into two sections. One is on the overview of research on maternity protection in Malaysia, and the second on my own research experience with the women entrepreneurs in Malaysia, especially those in small and micro businesses. As has been explained by Suzanne, Bianca, and Lillian, when I've been tasked to do this presentation, I forced my master student to do the research. Force, not labor force. For the last 1 week, to do some literature research on maternity protection in Malaysia, and it's so surprising that there's almost none. And so the one that we found is about like 6 studies that is related to maternity protection, like breastfeeding, for example. This one example is a study done by Kamal Halili and with his group in 2014, published in a journal, Asian Women Journal. But this is from the legal perspective. He was studying on the women's right to breastfeed in the workplace. The main objective of this study is to investigate the right or the absence of it of women in Malaysia to breastfeed in the workplace. So basically, the gist of this study is that employment law in Malaysia doesn't enforce breastfeeding breaks as a legal right for breastfeeding female employers. And shorter maternity leave is likely to be an obstacle to female employees continuing breastfeeding after return to work. So basically what they are trying to say is that to legislating employment policy to protect breastfeeding employees is necessary, so that it will correspond with other key elements of maternity protection. This is one of the, in a way, the newest research on that is related to maternity protection. Another is in 2016. This is from the development studies by PAPE, from long. ILO Convention C189, a good start for the protection of domestic workers. This is focusing on the domestic workers, and the main objective is to address labor struggle in one of the largest informal occupation, which is domestic work. And this is one of the finding of the research says that many domestic workers in Malaysia are overworked, underpaid, and often subjected to abuse, including physical and sexual abuse. A lot of domestic work is performed by migrant women and children. Another, which I'm not sure whether it's quite related or not with the maternity protection, but this is something that we can look at it. 2016, the impact of maternal marital status on birth outcomes among Malaysian women. And this is from the public health perspective. So based on this, all this research, based on this literature research, basically there is no a study on maternity protection in Malaysia. What more in SMEs, in informal sectors? And I just found out that Judge Paul did have research on maternity protection in Malaysia, but I didn't come across maybe because I just focus on the maternity protection when I do the literature research. In anthropology, my background, basically most of the studies on related to maternity protection, like breastfeeding, pregnancy, are all under medical anthropology. And my colleague, Dr. Sharifah, she's a medical anthropologist. She is now conducting few research on food intake during confinement period. So basically, but there is none, Dr. Sharifah, on specifically focus on maternity protection, employment, and all that. So something that we can explore further to expand this issue of maternity protection studies in Malaysia. Just now we talk about Laws Employment Act in private sectors. What about informal sectors? The definition given by Malaysian authority on the meaning of informal sector. Basically, it consists of units engaged in the production of goods or services with the objective of to generate income and employment. And when we talk about employment, it is called casual employment, which is based on kinship or personal and social relation rather than contractual arrangement with formal guarantees. In a simple definition, informal sectors referring to registration, basically they are not registered. But based on my experience with the micro entrepreneurs in Malaysia, it depends on the entrepreneur whether they want to register or not under the commission securities. They have to go to the CCM and pay about 70 ringgit to get the license. But many of them refuse because some of them feel like it's troublesome even to pay for 70 ringgit per year. And but they argue that it's good to be registered because it's easier for them to promote their product and to get assistance from the government. If you don't get registered, you are not entitled for government assistance. In terms of size, informal sectors referring to those who have less than 10 employees and they are not subjected to this labor legislation, social security and collective agreement. And non-agriculture sector, and finally the final product, at least for sale or barter transaction. This is quite complicated, so you don't have to look at this. When it comes to the different, when you say informal sector, what is that referring to when it comes to this medium, small and micro? If you look at the review of the definition, which is done in 2013, the new SME definition is based on this, as you can see on the slide. Micro is basically the sale turnover is less than 300,000 or the employee is less than 5. And small, between 5 to 75. But the one that we are working with, because we have 3 big projects that involving micro entrepreneurs. 3 of us are involved in one of the 3. One is Women Innovation with Prof. Rashida. And another one, we have FRGS research looking at the micro entrepreneurs. So basically, we are dealing with this group of micro entrepreneurs because most of them are having less than 5 employees. A little bit studies on informal sectors. Basically, in Malaysia, those women in informal sector have low primary level education and belongs to an average household of 5 members. And basically, they are depending on informal scheme, family support, personal saving, and loans. This research actually being done by our colleague from the School of Social Sciences, Saidatul. And she was studying about the impact of the EPF in the informal sectors, social security. And the labor laws do not provide for any kind of protection for informal workers. And the most prominent struggle by the MTUC, the Malaysian Trade Union Congress, to formulate laws to protect. This one is for the migrant labor and to ensure that their working conditions are not inferior to those governing Malaysian workers. And the challenge for the informal worker is to become more visible so that they are recognized as an important part of the labor force. But definitely it's lacking a legal protection, especially for our Malaysian workers. This is the one that I'm talking about, the study by Saidatu, Provident Fund for the Informal Sector, a case study of the informal sector workers in Kuala Lumpur. Let me show you some statistics. I don't like statistics, but I need that in order to put my argument how timely for us to explore this issue of maternity protection in SMEs. This is statistic from the Department of Statistics Malaysia. The framework of work employment is too small. Basically, the working age population is between 15 to 64 years old. And you can see the difference between 2012 and 2013. In the one that employed has increased from 2012 to 2013, 13 million. Is it? Yeah. And then informal sector also increased the number of those employed in informal sector. In terms of area, basically you can see the increase from 2012 to 2013 in urban area, from 656,000 to 814. And in terms of status, based on my experience, most of the employers in micro businesses, they are their own boss. So basically, they don't employ any worker. Only certain percentage, like 20% of the whole businesses employment are using hiring workers. In terms of employment in the informal sector, as you can see that majority of them, which is more than 60%, are having secondary education. So you can tell at the level of education owned by these workers in informal sector. In terms of male and female, you can see the huge increase in numbers of female in 2013 from 2012, from 427 to 64T. And in terms of age group, the numbers, those who are above 40s, there's an increase of number of employment in informal sector. So what I'm trying to say is that based on that statistic, it shows that the number of workers in informal sectors is increasing, but they are not covered in terms of maternity protection. So some of the characteristics based on the literature research, I found that basically those who are in the informal sector, in terms of employment, they don't have coverage. Social security system, little job security, low income and wages, and no fringe benefits from institutional sources. A little bit of why they don't want to take, and just now I think Bianca was asking, why do the employer want to provide maternity protection? Why should I mean from the employer's point of view, maternity protection is a cost. I'm doing a business. Everything is about cost, all right? So if you want to provide maternity protection, it means cost. And some of them, there's a different responses, because when I was asked to do this presentation, I tried to call out this, because I don't do this, I don't ask maternity protection during my project. So I called them up and asked, like, why do you choose daily paid basis? Because that's the easiest. There's no, and I don't want to deal with, this is the best statement ever, I don't want to deal with women with issues. I don't want to deal with women with pregnant, with boyfriend, with husband. Those I don't want to employ. So I have to ask them first. I'm quite lucky at the moment because I don't experience that problem. What is that maternity protection again? So, and others, when I asked, they said, okay, we never deal with that. Let me discuss with my husband. So basically, for example, like tailoring, yeah, they hire semi-skilled and skilled worker. The semi-skilled is just focusing on cutting the cloth, yeah, and the skilled one focusing on sewing, yeah, and the boss just doing all the important parts like collar, neck, and everything. So, for example, when you ask Norehan, our single mother, to make a dress, they said, okay, for modern Malay dress, I pay 60 ringgit per piece for my worker. But you pay 140 ringgit. So you get
to her.
To her. And so that's how they pay their workers. So, and the same thing like, but I think Bianca was mentioning about this issue like, okay, well, you know, I can just go and do some curry puff and I can go back for a while and attend with my children. It depends on how many curry puff I make, because I know that if I make 10 today, I get how many cents, yeah? So I don't have to think about, you know, take notice or take leave, for example. That's from the point of view of the workers, because some of the employees said, it's not just me want paid daily, the workers also want that. All my workers said, I want paid daily because I don't want to get deducted. I want full amount of me. And the employer said, if you pay daily, they are more hardworking, they are more focused. If I pay monthly, there are some days that, you know, they can just disappear from work. So it's cost. Again, it's cost. Everything's cost. Yeah? This is statements like, it is an open secret. When you are getting married or get pregnant, you just have to leave the job. Yeah? So basically what I'm trying to say is that, based on our presentation, is that workers in informal sectors are invisible. Yeah? There's no coverage at all. Example. So I came across Suzanne Bianca report on maternity protection in SMEs in a global perspective. It is about the same finding in a way, but we don't have that in an official report. So I think my suggestion is that in this workshop is that we can do more research to explore on this issue. And I hope that, you know, those who are in a qualitative methodology can, you know, expand their research in this aspect of maternity protection. Thank you.
How are we doing about time?
Spot on.
Spot on. Do we want